The Donkey Sanctuary of Canada has been giving abused and neglected donkeys a forever home since the early 90s. They've rescued over 200 donkeys, and I recently toured their facility to find out how the sanctuary is helping change the conversation around this often forgotten equine.
Breakfast, come on! Come on, Abby, come on, Misty!
This is how mornings start at the Donkey Sanctuary of Canada. This is routine for Kayla Johnson, who is the welfare and education manager here at the sanctuary.
We clean out the barns from the previous day, lay down new straw and new hay that they always have access to free choice straw, and we feed them about 1 to 2% of their body weight in hay.
The sanctuary is in Puslinch, Ontario, just outside of Guelph, and is a safe haven for these misunderstood equines. There are over 100 animals spread across 100 acres of farmland. They have 86 donkeys, 14 mules, which are a cross between a donkey and a horse, and even a goat.
Each animal has their own kind of schedule with and that we follow for a day-to-day basis, as well as any medication that we might do. We have about 15 million whiteboards in this room to help us keep track of all of the different types of care that an animal might need, which can range from topical treatments, oral medications, medications that go in feed or in tubes that we have to give them.
These green pastures are a relatively new surrounding for these donkeys. Some were neglected or abused and seized by animal control, while others came from a loving home, but their owners could no longer take care of them. Leslie Bain is the executive director of the Donkey Sanctuary and has been at the forefront of educating people on these often forgotten equines.
They certainly are used to the fullest extent and until the end of their lives. The first time I saw a donkey and really remembered it was when it had been abandoned, dead at the side of the road. Likely it had carried a load and didn't quite make it and had just passed out and was left there. The donkey is part of the equine group, which is zebra, horse, and donkey. Now we see the zebra, it's exotic, beautiful, the horse is majestic, and typically the donkey doesn't get great descriptive terms that go along with it, and we'd like to change that.
Unlike horses, donkeys have a short, wider body. Their tails look more like tassels, and they're known for their long ears. There's a lot more than just their physical traits that set them apart.
The behavior can be really different as well. So donkeys are more of that fight instinct, whereas horses are more of that flight instinct. So horses will run away if they're afraid of something, whereas donkeys will stop and assess the situation, and they'll see what the best course of action is. And that might be to run away, but it might be to stay and fight.
And because of their fight instincts, some farmers keep donkeys to protect livestock from predators like coyotes. But according to the organization, donkeys thrive in either small groups or bonded pairs.
Well, come on then.
The animals we take in from the beginning, we've offered them a lifelong home. And I want to be sure that the organization lasts long enough that the animals that are in its care live full lives.
Sandra Patty is the founder of the Donkey Sanctuary of Canada. She started rescuing donkeys after learning about their bleak futures once they're no longer wanted by their owners.
If there isn't someone right there to buy it, it's sent to the slaughterhouse.
She rescued 9 donkeys slated for auction and took them in with the 3 she already had on her property. The not-for-profit charity, which is modeled after the Donkey Sanctuary in England, has gone to rescue over 200 donkeys since.
Come on, let's go. Come on.
The donkeys that come into the sanctuary come in various conditions: overgrown hooves, matted coats, and weight issues. Some donkeys are fitted with fly masks to protect from the sun and insects, and in more severe cases, donkeys are fitted with custom pants to keep the bugs away.
Our treatment barn is the first place they'll go. It allows us a little more time to work with any behavioral needs or medical needs. A lot of them will come in overweight or underweight, so this is a great place to be able to control them with the use of our stalls.
The sanctuary has only a few staff and depends on the help of over 100 volunteers to care for each individual donkey. In some cases, donkeys need one-on-one rehabilitation for years before they can be introduced to the main population.
Hey, Duncan. We needed to focus more on that trusting bond and that mental health awareness as we do now so much in our human community. And that's equally as important, knowing how intelligent our donkeys and mules are, to make sure we're addressing those needs as well as the physical.
Duncan came here nearly 3 years ago. Around the same time, Johnson started working at the sanctuary. He was rescued from a farm where he was often hit with a shovel in order to do work.
Duncan came from a situation where many of our donkeys and misunderstandings in the public come from about donkeys being guard animals and work animals. And of course, I believe that animals with jobs have purpose, and that, being as emotionally intelligent as they are, that's important for them to have work. But it's also important to make sure that their quality of life and necessities of care is not decreased because of the work that they're doing. So Duncan was used on a farm where he was used for work and was unfortunately abused in those cases in order to get him to do that work. Certainly Duncan had some setbacks when he arrived here, when he needed to have basic needs like his feet taken care of, so that we make sure we bond and form that bond of trust. We need to make sure they're comfortable and safe and happy and healthy, but also me taking opportunities to learn about the different types of cases, what makes them tick, and how to help them through things that they need to overcome, things they might have had bad experiences with or no experience with before.
The sanctuary relies on donations in order to care for its animals, and opens its doors at least once a week to the public to help educate and debunk any misconceptions. It's all in hopes of changing the way we look at donkeys.
I hope they come away understanding that the animals are worthy of respect.
The Agenda with Steve Paikin is brought to you by the Chartered Professional Accountants of Ontario. CPA Ontario is a regulator, an educator, a thought leader, and an advocate. We protect the public. We advance our profession. We guide our CPAs. We are CPA Ontario. And by viewers like you. Thank you.